On the fields of Trenzalore, at the fall of the 11th, when no living creature could speak falsely or fail to answer, a question will be asked, a question that must never, ever be answered. Well, yeah, if you didn't get the reference, this is Silence. The Whispered World from Daedalic Entertainment, developed on the Unity engine, surprisingly. You can pick it up for around $29.90 of your local currency, although if you live in Canada, you're paying $40 because y'all suck. Woo! What is it? Can you save Silence, the grim but also serene world between life and death? Can you help Noah find his little sister Renie? In this suffering world, can you bring her home, explore the Silence, and join the siblings on their adventurous journey quest? Mm-hmm. Anyways, so
yes.
I ran out of journey adventure synonyms because I don't have a thesaurus handy. Anyways, CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that it's awesome. And we apply these scores to our categories Doom, mixed with working, shiny, sounds, controls, and fun. So Ven, did Silence, the Whispered World, make with the working?
Over here on the Ubuntu 1604 box of business, I'm running an 8150 980 power displayed at UHD. It ran pretty good, Brad. I was terribly impressed with it. I mean, constantly maintaining 60 FERPs, not only at 1080, but 3840 by 2160. And for a Unity title, that's hella rare. Really, the only thing I have a legitimate complaint about, which is not really legitimate, is the Daedalic .de en homepage. It's 19 fucking megabytes, Brad. I mean, I can't ding you a chair for that, but seriously, goddamn, 4 chairs.
Yeah, like I was honestly surprised. It was like, this is a Unity game. Why is it running at 60 FPS at UHD on max? Is it because I have VSync on? No. Oh shit, this is a well-performing Unity title. Shock mon shocks. Although, one thing to bring up is all the videos, all the pre-rendered cutscenes are at 720p at 30, which just look like total crap on a UHD monitor. But such is life. On the i7 6700K with the GTX 980 with 60 or 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM, yeah, running Fedora 2464, but this gets 4 chairs.
Yeah, I know. Makes with the working wise over here on the FX 8370E and the GeForce GTX 1080. It ran at a constant 60 because the game is actually VSync on by default. But apparently it performs at 60 even at 4K. I wouldn't know. I have 1080p screens. So hey, for me it gets 4 chairs.
All right, well that's 4 chairs for Mixed with Working. Up next is Shiny and Sounds. Ben.
Yes, ma'am. All right. I'm going to agree with you. I didn't want to throw this in mix with the working, but definitely with the shiny and sounds. What first hits your face organ when you fire this thing up is this miserably encoded 30 FERPs. And then, man, I don't even think it's running at 30. This game's going to be shit. Then you're pleasantly surprised when it goes to in-engine. You're like, oh, why didn't you just just do the in-engine thing? Why did you record this? I mean, seriously, whoever encoded that intro video should be shot. You know what? Nay. They should be stabbed in their reproductive organ, whatever it may be. That's just bad. However, it's fucking gorgeous. It is well done. I mean, if someone's like, well, this is from AAA Studio, it's just like, absolutely it is. Very colorful. Animation rigging is spot on. And I mean, just the direction in the cutscenes, you know, when you're not really doing anything, the camera work on that, whoever was in charge of that, you're going to go on and do great things because you're a solid mofo. Definitely digging this. The sounds, voice acting, completely passable. It was like, oh my God, this is great. I was like, no, but it's believable. And that's something we don't normally get. Looking good, sounding good, playing very well, minus that animated intro cutscene. For fuck's sake, just redo that in engine because that is not how you want to come out of the box. Because I almost, Vulcan pinched Alt F4 on this game. But fortunately, I stuck through. And I'm going to find out that I was kind of pleased I did. Somebody give us a solid 3 chairs from an indie title.
Yeah, it sounds really good. But there are a couple issues. Like the fact that there isn't any lip sync. So when you're watching people talk and their mouths go.
Didn't have that problem.
Yeah, I did. That's a problem I have, staring at people's mouths while they talk. And considering this game is really dialogue heavy, it does get a little distracting. As does Well, so all the backgrounds are matte paintings, and they're really well done. They're beautiful. It's great. But it's 3D models on 2D matte backgrounds. And if you're staring at the map or at the screen for a while because you're waiting for the animation of whatever you were doing to finish for the umpteenth time, you start to realize, hey, these pop out, or hey, they're just stretching this image to give the illusion of depth. This isn't actually modeled out. So it's enough to where it's noticeable. And yeah, the voice acting is pretty good. Even the little child actress they got for playing the little girl is passable, which is, pretty good for a child actress. I'll give it a solid 3 chairs. Very good looking, very good sounding. Just a couple little issues, and that's it.
Yeah, no, frame rate is usually something we'll rag on during the makes with a working bit. But in this case, it very much plays into the aesthetics. It's jarring, really, really jarring to see the game go from 30 FPS to 60 FPS and then back the moment the cutscene starts. Because both the cutscenes and the world are beautifully designed. There's absolutely no issues whatsoever with like the actual in-game footage. And it looks so really jarring. Why would you do something like this? Now, the voice acting, as has been mentioned, is great. It's really, really good. And the script behind it is also really good. But like Jordan mentioned, the lack of lip sync doesn't really help it all that much. But I will give it bonus points for the fact that it's not every game which manages, to give me goosebumps during the intro cutscene, based solely on hand-drawn visuals and an awesome soundtrack. It's really, really good, but it has issues, so it gets 3 chairs.
All right, that's 3 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Let's move on to Control. Then, how did it control?
Well, one
Probably
thing I do want to comment on, over the Ubuntu, I never had a problem with lip sync. When I'm saying that, it was working fine and still currently working. I didn't experience any issues with that. But, nay, we are talking about controls. This thing controls very well, surprisingly well, considering I was using the X-Clone controller to use it. I wasn't using my gerbil. Then, but this is a hidden thing. Why weren't you using your gerbil? Are you high? And to which I would reply, that is a rhetorical question, madam. But with the X-Clone controller, surprisingly, I could sit back on the couch organ I have here in the studio, with my little 28-inch monitor, and have a reasonably good time. The one little issue I do have with it is, with the controller, it can be a bit janky when selecting some of the targets, because it's kind of got a cheat button when you press down on the D-pad, and you're like, okay, that's there. Why can't I get that? You're like, tap, 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 blowing on it, see if you get there. And it will eventually do that. But that is enough to ding it a chair, I do believe. But 3, you might not have that issue. Play this with a gerbil, but I think this is definitely the type of game you want to sit back, relax, grab an adult, and play in big picture mode.
Yeah, they have those annoying like mouse movement mini games, QuickTime events things. The problem is the game doesn't capture like the screen or your cursor to the screen. So if you have a crazy monitor set up like me, you'll try and do something and then realize your cursor is on 2 monitors over and the game is whatever timer for that thing you're doing has ran off. There's also the balancing mini game, which is fun because I have to jack off my mouse by going, which I totally sort of fluked into because I was like, is it going to be one of those things where I'm going to have to jerk my mouse back and forth really, really quick? Oh, yeah, it is. Well, but beyond the general point and clickiness, there are a couple issues with selecting things or trying to get actions done, especially when you're dealing with your little worm friend Spot. But beyond that, there's not really much. It's just the UI will hide stuff from you, and you have to go through like the false dead ends to actually get new options that are the actual solutions presented. That's more of a fun section thing, and I'll talk about that a little more. Actually, Ben will talk about it a lot more because he has a lot to say about that. But beyond that, 3 chairs for Control. Pretty good.
Well, there are a whole of 2 buttons for this game. There's the action/move button, which is bound to both the left click and the right click, and the hint button, which is bound to the middle click. And everything else is just cursor driven. You swing the gerbil around and you make things happen. It's really hard to cuck it up, especially if you have like a point and click adventure game like this one is. It's really, really hard to cuck it up. So I didn't run into any issues with the mouse escaping the window all that much. So I don't know what the hell Jordan's on about. So I'm gonna give it 4 chairs.
All right. Well, you're not running separate X screens, so I don't know what the hell your problem is. That's 3 chairs for Control. Let's wrap this up with fun. Ven, did you have fun playing Silence?
Well, you start off with this game and you're running. There's like, oh, there's a bomb shelter. There's a war going on, and you nope inside the bomb shelter, and it's you playing the slightly older, maybe preteen brother and a very young girl. I've already named it. I was like, smart move, man. Food. That's her name. Who's surprisingly annoying, too, for something that is a consumable. But here's some issues, man. I mean, the game's fun. It's fun. You go on this adventure. You go into the fantasy land, and it's all this bullshit. I mean, it's extremely fucking well written, though. I mean, now that I'm going back and I'm thinking about it, I was like, it ties together very well from your stark reality. And I really hope this game has, I mean, I'm probably going to finish this game because I genuinely want it to have like some dark, fucked up, twisted ending. I'm looking at you going home. That's definitely a thing. One of the things that annoys me is basically everything's set in stage scene. You're like, okay, this scene, then you move to another scene, then it auto saves. And if you don't play your card organs just right without autosave, sometimes you can be met with up to a 5-minute dialogue session that you have to rewatch. But to break up that monotony, they will give you, some choices. And you're like, oh, choices. This will affect the outcome of the game. Bullshit. It doesn't. Seriously. First of all, you just got to let us skip through that. I mean, because, I don't want to sit through that bullshit every time I save incorrectly and I got to go through all of this. Or at least you need to nope your autosave mechanic for this game. Because it is hit or miss. It always saves, but sometimes it's save, plus you need to get up and go do something. You try to alt-tab out of the game. Game's like, fuck you. I'm going to go to the pause menu. So you can't bullshit your way out of that. But with those choices, since I've had to sit through those screens and, just character dialogue, story development, first time you hear it, it's great. The third time, not so much. You're like, well, should I be angry? Should I be sad? Or, how you should interact with the game. I picked multiple opposite choices of each other's on several occasions. Because recently I just chose the exact opposite for all of the questions in like the reunion scene that you made me sit through twice. It led to the same outcome. So, illusion of choice much. That kind of zaps some of the fun out of this game because maybe I'm affecting something and something you're really not. Maybe later on in the game, the branch prediction goes out, but currently in the first 2 hours I put into it, the branches just come right back together and lead you into the same thing. Really the only thing I'm not really hating on it, but the cute, lovable sidekick spot, just a bit over the top on the cute and lovable stuff. It kind of sticks out just a bit much. Fun game. Maybe wait until it's 10% off. I would say if you have a kid, maybe a teenager, give them this. This is not for little kids because, they're dropping like F&S bombs all the time. So that could freak some parents out. If you're like me, rocket in your 30s, it's a good story. Might have made a better movie than an interactive game, but I do like it. I like it lots, and I'm going to keep playing, and it better not let me down on that sick, twisted ending. 3 chairs.
Yeah, going back to Vin's point about watching a movie, this is totally one of the games where you're going to be sitting there listening to some dialogue, and then there's a pause. And then you realize this pause has gone on for a little too long. Is something up? Oh, they're expecting me to do something. Huh. And that statement really encapsulates the main problem with the game, is that I would totally watch a movie or a miniseries or like a TV show about the story of this game. It's interesting. The characters are well written. The dialogue is surprisingly sharp for a kid's game. Reminds me a lot of Over the Garden Wall, which I'm pretty sure they've stolen quite a bit from in terms of inspiration, but that's fine. Over the Garden Wall is a decent series. But yeah, the gameplay elements become the sort of tedious distraction. I want to immerse myself more in the story of this world and these characters and what's going on. And periodically I have to go through some convoluted puzzle mechanics. And that's not a good sign for this game. Also, like Ven said, when you I've had this game crash on me exactly once, and that was in the middle of a selection thing, so I had to give it the Vulcan nerve pinch of Alt F4, come back in. Then I had to sit through about 5-10 minutes of, dialogue, false choice, dialogue. Okay, I'm back to where I was, which is really annoying. Yeah, if you just, I get not wanting to make people save scum, so just give them the one save slot per thing, and that's it. That's all you need to do. But yeah, no, the story is very well written, though. It leans a little heavily on the tropes that it's trying to make fun of or pay homage to, which, I mean, that you only care about that if you're a jaded story buff like me. And yeah, no, it's a very good story, which is the cornerstone of a good adventure game. It's just a little too good. I would rather really sit back and watch someone else play this and just sort of absorb the story itself. But I definitely suggest giving it a look. Maybe wait till it goes on sale for a wee cheaper than it is. $40 Canadian is a little much to scoff at. So I'll give this 2 chairs. Very, very good. Just, make it a movie. Don't make it a game.
I am definitely not the target audience here. In fact, from what I played of the game so far, and I'm about 3.5 hours in, this is geared more towards parents of children age, say, 8 to 12. If you want to play a game with your kid, this is definitely something you should be looking at. It tackles similar grown-up material, but with a charm and a light enough mood, which could serve as an awesome aid for you as a parent to talk to your offspring about those very same subjects. That's all acceptable. The limited control scheme and the simple point-and-click mechanics are perfect for an introductory video game should, said offspring be on track to getting into the world of video games. Now, even though I am aware of this, and I am not being aware that I'm not the target audience, the first hour or so, I was hooked. Silence manages to be kid-friendly, but not condescendingly so, which is actually what happens with many children-orientated games/media. And that means that even a completely fucking jaded 30-something-year-old asshole on the internet can find some enjoyment in it. It wasn't until I hit a particularly convoluted puzzle, which is the one you see me stuck on the footage of right about now, that I stopped to take stock of what was actually happening. Now, for all my spiels about mechanics being the driving force behind a video game, I too can recognize that you can in fact have a very good game focusing solely on the aesthetics and the narrative. And this game does the latter two very, very well, even if there are some nits to be picked at. This is also a great teaching aid if you'd like to, give your kids a crash course in patience, because goddamn, those loading screens take forever. 2 chairs.
That was also a brief lesson in patience. You get 2 chairs for fun, and if we tally all that up, that's 3 chairs for silence. So fun thoughts, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. And the people who give the best advice about gaming for children are the ones that don't have kids. That at least
are 30-year-old childless men, yeah.
Yeah, I know. See, according to what Vince told me regarding our audience, audience and the age range where our viewer bell curve falls on YouTube, chances are, if you're watching this, you're probably at the age of having, or at least thinking of having kids. If not, good on you. But if you do decide to spawn one of those shrieking goblins and decide to introduce them to video games, this is a very good one to start with.
Yeah, people talk about point-and-click adventure games as sort of the realm of failed film writers and failed film directors, and this one kind of rings true, but that doesn't stop it from being a very good story and a very well put together game. I would recommend checking it out.